Hello there. What's going on, everybody? Today I'm going to be doing a Legion list build, kind of flipping the meta on its head, so to speak. I'm going to be using Tabletop Admiral. I'm going to be doing a Rebel build today, and it's another take on triple Wookiees. And I'm going to tell you, I was kind of motivated to make this when it came to talking about LVO. I don't do a lot of really big tournaments, and it's intimidating. It's intimidating to do big tournaments, and so I wanted to see well, maybe I can make like a jokey list that would be fun, but this way if I lose I don't feel too bad because it's not like I was really trying. But still, I mean, of course you're gonna really try, but it's always nice to have that little excuse, right? And I kind of brought that up as a joke, but there's a little bit of truth in that, right? Sometimes it feels good to have kind of like a good reason why you failed or something like that, or some kind of fallback, so you can, if you do poorly, you can still sit back and say, yeah, but you know what? I brought a fun list. I had a great time, and so not merely really an excuse, but more of a backup plan. So that's kind of the list we're looking at today, and I think there's some new things that have happened that can make Wookiees a little bit more worthwhile. So we're going to be looking at a triple Wookiee list today. Also, there's some new stuff. Did you guys know that there's a new huge giveaway going on all month long for July for a $100 Amazon gift card? All you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. Also, be sure to check out the store. There's links down below. We've got lots of masks and shirts and gator necks. We've got like Boba Fett. We've got double critical merchandise. All kinds of really cool stuff. So definitely check those out. There's new stuff showing up all the time too, so that's pretty cool. That's a great way to help support the channel. Okay, I think that's enough admin stuff. Let's go ahead and kind of dive into this list. So first thing I'm going to talk about is how we're going to build the Wookiees. I'm going to make all three of the Wookiees the same. And one of the things you're going to see about Wookiees is you're going to say, well, you know what? They've got 2 black for melee, so that's pretty good. You're going to have 3 of them in, that's a pretty decent melee. They're going to have, if you get them all in there, they got charge, so they're a solid melee unit. They got 2 black, they got surge to hit, and so that'd be 6 black dice with surge to hit. That's not too bad, because you can even aim, then move, and attack for free with charge. And they've got expert climber and unhindered and indomitable too, which means they're probably not going to lose an action. They have a pretty good chance not to lose an action. It can still happen, but yeah, so like they're pretty hard to stop, right? And they've got 3 health each. That's really one of the big things about the Wookiees. They have 3 health each, so they're hard to stop. Now, granted, they've got no defensive power and white dice, so they go down, they take wounds pretty quickly. But, looking at them, one of the things that a lot of people might not realize is that, well, they're fine for a melee unit. They're really not a melee unit, in my opinion. So that's how we're going to build them today. We're going to build them as a ranged unit because they function better as a ranged unit, in my opinion, because of the bowcaster Wookiee. Okay, so he's got a range 3 attack. He's got a better attack. As normally, their ranged attack is still pretty good. It's still 2 dice per mini. But now you add an extra mini in there. But he's got a red and a white, so now you're going to have a red and a white, and then 3 black and 3 white. So that's pretty good. That's a lot of dice. That's 8 dice if you get them all on there. 8 dice is pretty good. Of course, 4 of them are going to be white, but you do have surge to hit, which makes that a little bit better. You're getting a little bit of impact with this guy, so you have a little bit of damage, going on with vehicles. You have a little bit of that, which is nice. Impact 1 times 3, because we're going to have 3 units. It's not bad. But Pierce is really the thing that makes this so much better, right? Like, I don't know why they didn't decide to give Wookiees Pierce for melee, but yeah, this is what makes them so much better in my opinion, is that Pierce one is just so great. And also this guy is range 3, so you can even split fire if you need to. But yeah, so I really like this. I really like this guy. So he goes in all of this. Now he's more expensive per mini than the regular Wookiees, but justifiably so. So we have 2 training options on these guys also, which is a pretty cool thing. Now, one of the things that I really like to use is offensive push with these guys, so I can get that free aim when I'm going to need it. Now, the cool thing here with offensive push is you're like, oh, I've got to recover to get it back. Yeah, no, I get that. But there's usually one key time. Like for a unit that does so much range damage at range 2, there's going to be a clutch point when you need it, and that's where this upgrade shines. So I'm going to put that on there. And I'm also going to give them tenacity. Now you could, honestly, I think Hunter is a good option for them because, again, they're going to have a lot of white dice. Aims are going to be really good for them. But tenacity is going to make their melee also good, because at some point you're going to have to melee with them, because I mean their melee is not bad anyway, but it's going to give them that extra red die, and even when you start losing guys, even down to the last one, you're still going to get a red and 2 black with surge to hit, for even just 1 mini left. So that's really going to increase the overall value of the unit quite a bit. But I'm going to give him one more upgrade. I know I'm spending a lot on these Wookiees, but I'm going to give him Recon Intel. It's cheap. It gives them Scout 1. That's going to be important for these guys. It's going to be really important because you want them to get, one of the biggest problems is that it takes them a long time to get to the range that they need to get, and that's going to help them move. I mean, honestly, a lot of people are good with Recon Intel, but people that need to be up close within range 2 need it even more so than everybody else. Okay, so now that we've got triple Wookiees, I've talked about the value of Recon Intel. There's some options that we can look at. All right, one of the first options for movement is Leia Organa, because she has, I'm going to put her in here. She has a command card, a 2-pip called No Time for Sorrows. Now this is a really good card to be able to give to Wookiees, because you can now give them a speed 1 move during the during the order step, and so you can get them either to safety, or you can get them, just that much closer that now they're going to be able to move and attack, or move, or charge, or move and exhaust offensive push, and then do the ranged attack. And I think offensive push is one of the things that really helps Wookiees do a lot better than they used to be able to do before, and because now they can effectively kind of get that 3 actions for the ranged attack: move, aim, and shoot. Kind of, and so that's a really good thing to be able to do. It's like almost like they have steady for 1 turn, as long as aim is on your list of things to do. So I like that. And but the problem I have with Leia is, while I do like her command cards, especially her 1-pip is also really, really cool. The build that I'm going for, this would be the only card of hers that I took, and I'll explain more later. So because of that, I'm actually not going to use Leia, and I'm going to use a generic officer, because it gives me more points, and the Rebel officer is still pretty good. He still has Inspire, and he's still got Take Cover, so he can still do that, but he's cheap, and good for him. All right, so but I'm going to use R2-D2. R2-D2 is one of those people that's just super, super helpful, and R2-D2 has something similar. He has kind of like one of the same things that Leia has. He's got comms relay, and R2-D2 has command card. He has also got a command card that when he issues an order to a unit, they get a free move. And guess what? With comms relay, he can be like, oh, guess what? Those same 2 Wookiees can now move. So R2-D2 does that same thing that Leia wanted to do, plus he's got secret mission, plus he's got other command cards that I actually think are also helpful, like his 3-pip with the free smoke grenade is actually kind of helpful for Wookiees, because I'd rather them be under light cover when they're far away, because that's gonna, they need all the defensive help they can get. So I kind of like R2 with a lot of that stuff. So I think R2 helps out the Wookiees a little bit more than Leia does. And that's kind of it. For core, I'm going the cheap route here. I'm gonna go. You might not be crazy about this, but I'm gonna go 3 Rebel Troopers. 3 Rebel Troopers, just bare bones Rebel Troopers. Now, I could add more than that. There's certainly enough room and points to add more than that. I've already got my commander. I've got an operative. I got 3 core. I've got 3 SF. I already got 6 activations, and I'm not even at 400 points yet. What kind of craziness is this, right? We can go really, really high in the activation count. I'm not quite doing that. Now, I'm going to do something a little out of character for me right now. Well, I only have 1 Wookiee warrior. That's why we're not at 400 points yet. I forgot. I was like, wait, that is really, because I have to duplicate these Wookiee warriors 2 more times. Boom, and then boom. So now we're at 3 Wookiee warriors with all of this. That puts us to 570, a lot higher than 400, like I thought before. Okay, I'm going to add something I normally don't add, and I'm going to add the 1.4 FD laser cannon team. Somebody brought this up recently. I think it was in one of the Facebook groups, but they said, why would you ever use this? Well, it has been errated now, so it's now range 1 to 5. And because I'm using 3 Wookiees, I can't put a sniper in there. Now, I could put Cassian Andor. That is certainly cool, but I don't have enough points, because if I run Cassian, I also want to run K2, and it just, all the stuff that I wanted to do wasn't working out for me. So I'm not running Cassian with this build, although I think there's a way. I think you can absolutely run Cassian and Wookiees. I think that there's definitely a path there. I'm just not going with that path on this particular one, because I have a different plan, and you'll see. But the 1.4 FD laser cannon team does kind of give me that long range support that I'm lacking in this build. And and it might make people annoyed, and they may want to take some shots at it, and that's fine, because shots that they take on this are not shots that they're taking on my Wookiees. I want the Wookiees to live in this build, because they're where I'm going to have the most fun. Another thing that is going to be important to this build is suppression, and this one I can give them that generator, that overcharged, I'm sorry, not the overcharged, but the barrage generator, which one gives them suppressive. And I really do enjoy the barrage generator. I'm a big fan of that one. You could also opt to give them HQ uplink, but I'm not going to do that in this particular set. I think there's a lot of paths to be able to do that. Maybe putting, taking recon intel off the warriors or something like that to save the points, but I just don't have the points for it with what I wanted to do. But it's always a nice option, because when you do put HQ uplink on the FD laser cannon team, then all it has to do is shoot and recover every single turn, and just put out loads of suppression at long range, and that's really fun. It's a cool thing that you can do. But I'm not going to do that in here, because maybe I want to aim and shoot, and maybe I'll save a recover for another time. But let's see what we're going to do. We've got 9 activations so far. We've got some points left. I could add a lot more core if I wanted to, but I want to add another heavy hitter. Another heavy hitter, another person to distract from the Wookiees. And somebody I don't play a lot, but that's very popular, and that's going to be Sabine Wren. I'm going to put Sabine Wren in this list. I feel like there's a lot of things here that are going to let her work with the Wookiees, and that are just going to synergize a little bit with the list as a whole. But plus, she's also fast, and I don't really have anybody else who's really fast. The Wookiees are a little fast because of speed 2, and they don't have to worry about the unhindered terrain, and unhindered with the area terrain and difficult moves and expert climber. So I get that. But Sabine, there's no topping Sabine when it comes to speed. So even though she's not a long range shooter, she is a super quick mover. So with Sabine, it's a really tough choice, right? Because I look at her and I'm like, oh man, that Darksaber is really cool, but it's so expensive, right? So in her case, I'm not going to give her the Darksaber, and I know that's like, it's one of those things where some people aren't sure because it's really expensive, and I get that. But here's what I'm going to give her. For training, I'm going to give her endurance. She's got a lot of defensive power, right? She's impervious. She's got defensive surge and red dye. She's tough to kill. But what that means is she's going to be taking suppression every time she gets shot. So she is somebody who is likely going to build up a lot of suppression. So endurance is going to help her keep that down. So endurance is a really good option here for her, I feel like. And then for gear, she's going to take her 2 custom things. Her personal combat shield is going to help her stay alive. And then the Electro Grapple line. She has got some stuff that lets her recover, and that's going to set the combat shield and the grapple line back, as well as clear suppression if she gets a lot of extra. And that kind of all works. Now this brings me up to 793. This is kind of where I stop adding stuff. You definitely have options though. You definitely have options if you want to add some extra things. Like one thing you could even do is give one of the rebel troopers maybe a smoke grenade. I'm not crazy about the smoke grenades, but if your rebel troopers are only playing objectives here, which I think my rebel troopers in this case would only be there for objective purposes, smoke grenade could actually be useful. You'd be using it purely defensively. You're not really worried about shooting through. You're like moving and trying to stay alive. So smoke grenades could be good. They also help with your Wookiees, right? Potentially. But I kind of want to have, like, I want these Wookiees to work a little bit, so I'm going to go for a much bigger bid than I usually go for, and that's a 7-point bid here for 793. I'm normally like a 799 player. If I've got 2 points, I give recon intel to somebody, but in this case, I'm going with a high bid, and that's that's going to come into play when we look at the battle plan cards. So first up is the command cards, and this is where we look at the different cards that are here, because man, there's really good ones. So let's start with the 3 pips first. Smokescreen, R2D2. This is so good in this list. It's first off, it's R2D2 and a trooper. So my operative is now issuing orders. He can actually give 2 Wookiees an order this way because of his comm relay, and then he's issuing them to another friendly trooper unit. They may perform a speed 1 move. So that's going to happen. Then he also gains smoke 1. I can also, alternatively, I have the choice to just give R2 this one and then let him do the speed 1 move also. But yeah, so this gives you a lot of flexibility. Love this card, and I like the fact that the smoke grenade is a free action. I really like that. Free action's huge. And then Sabine with Legacy of Mandalore. This one is awesome. She's an operative also, right? But she's full-blown giving out orders here. Sabine Wren and 2 troopers. Of course, I can give those to the Wookiees because, hey, she's going to gain Inspire, which is something that's good in this particular list. We do have 1 already on the regular officer, though, so that's good. But when she issues an order to a commander, operative, or special forces unit, she is going to gain an aim and or a dodge token. So here she's going to gain basically 3 tokens because I'm going to have plenty of Wookiees. And if for whatever reason she needs to give it to R2, she can do it that way as well. So I really like this one. It's a good all-purpose card in this particular list. And that takes care of my 3 pips. For the 2 pip, we've got Impromptu Emulation. I don't really need to use this one with R2. I don't see R2 attacking very much. So I'm going to skip this one and I'm going to put Push in its place. But then we've got Turning the Tide. I'm not going to use this one, right? I don't have 2 supports or heavies. I only have the 1 support. But Symbol of Rebellion is pretty good. And it does a couple of things. It gives you the graffiti token so you can make it a little bit easier for your guys to get rid of suppression and kind of make it a little more difficult for your opponents. But also it lets Sabine recover. And this one is really cool. One thing to keep in mind is if I didn't want to give her Endurance, which you don't have to do, I could change Sabine up and give her the offensive push. When she recovered, she'll get that ready also. That's another way to run this, and that's another time that this card is also really, really cool. So I like that, but it's good all around. The only problem is it's only Sabine gets the order there, but it's okay. And then the 1 pips are really crucial, and this is another reason I'm not taking Leia, because I love her 1 pip, but in this case, these 2 1 pips are absolute must-haves. And so it's going to be Blast Off with R2. Of course, we've got to have that. He disengages, he gets +1 speed, he gains that suppression stuff, and he gets the jump. He's making the mad dash for the enemy deployment zone to try to cash in that secret mission. And then Explosions, this is the best card Sabine has. It's absolutely incredible. She gets to jump in, drop 2 bombs in your opponent's faces, and go boom. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted Sabine in this list. Oh, I'm not using that. I'm not using Sabotage Communications. It's because of the battle plan cards. We have all these new cards now and I'm going to select cards that are going to want my opponents to kind of bunch up together. If they do, if Sabine comes in, she can wreak havoc, and if they spread out, the Wookiees can take them apart. So I feel like the threat of Sabine's 1 pip is going to keep people from bunching up too much, and bunching up would be a threat to the Wookiees as they try and come in, because then you'd be able to just kind of pick them off, have everybody focus fire on each Wookiee warrior as they move up. So that's kind of like what I got going on here, right? So for our deployments, we're going to look at definitely advanced positions. Because the Scout 1, right? I want to have Scout 2. I want to get a really good starting position here, and I like this one. This one's fun. It also gets R2 a little bit closer, so I can drop him here, maybe at the bottom corner, and then kind of go straight up and kind of have that. It's a fun one. I like this one a lot. So we're gonna put advanced positions in there. I really like Hemmed In. I like this one for a couple of the different objectives. It's really good, and since I'll get to be blue player, it's great for R2 because I have my choice of going left or right. I can just go to wherever the opponent is not in a heavy concentration of forces, and if they split themselves up evenly, I just throw everybody to one side and just ignore the other, and then I only have to face half of their army. So I really like Hemmed In for that. Danger Close is a very popular one lately. Really good for secret mission type characters because you've only got 3 distance between the 2, and so I can get right in their face. We have a really close, and again, the Wookiees want to be really close to other units. So being starting out just distance 3 and then having Scout 1 on the Wookiees already, really helpful. Really helpful. So Danger Close is definitely one of my favorites for this one. And I think the next one I went with Major Offensive because we're kind of close diagonally there. But yeah, that's what we went with for that one. For objectives, in this one, I'm looking at, I believe we have Sabotage Moisture Evaporators in there. Again, this is another one where people tend to kind of bunch up around those things where they have to try to, where they're trying to repair them. Or if not, then I can have my Wookiees move in, and good luck trying to get close. Because you have to get close, and I think, those objectives you want to get, you want to have to spend an action to interact means maybe you're not doing a standby, or maybe you're not, moving and shooting. You're probably moving and then using an interact action. So I like that because it lets me, hopefully approach from safety and run around the corner and surprise you and kill you, and then take over your objective. That's kind of what I want the Wookiees to be able to do. That's the fun goal for that. I do have intercepted transmissions here. What I like about this one is there's no scoring early on. It gives me time to get into position, and with my Wookiees wanting to get real close, I feel like I can do that. And also, you're likely to, usually we're going to contest in one spot, and that's where you'll maybe group up, where Sabine can kind of get you there. We've got key positions, which again, that's another one where we tend to kind of group up around maybe that middle terrain piece or something like that. I think Sabine is good for that one. And then the last one, my favorite one, the one I'm really going to go for, is Payload in this one. You're absolutely going to be trying to gear up. You're going to be trying to group up. You're going to be trying to get a whole bunch of guys together to try to push your payload through my territory. And if my Wookiees scare you, maybe you send even more guys, and then that's when I jump in Sabine to just make you pay for it with lots and lots of suppression. And then also, Payload takes really good advantage of my 3 naked Rebel troopers, because it counts as the exact same as 3 full-strength Rebel, unit leaders. So, and so I love that. I really do like Payload in this case. It's a fun, plus it's a really fun one to play too. And for conditions, we're going to go with this one. Rapid reinforcements honestly can be really wicked with Wookiees, because you just have to choose a non-commander and non-operative. You can choose special forces here, so you can have them Wookiees just drop in like anywhere on the map as long as they're beyond range 2. And then once they're only range 2 of somebody, man, you start that next round and just be like, you don't have to make the sound effect, but it's fun if you do. It's more like something like that. Was not that good. Limited visibility is definitely a good one for people that are short range. I don't want to get taken out at range 4 while I'm trying to get into range 2. So limited viz, really good option here. Definitely supply drop, because it's fun. There's a lot of units that can can do really good things here. There's like the Wookiees can get that one that gives them a free dodge when they're being attacked or something like that. So there's all kinds of cool stuff here with supply drop. And I'm going to go with War Weary as my last one. You know what, like checking for panic, my Wookiees can get far enough away, they're indomitable, so I don't think they're going to panic ever. It's unlikely that they're going to panic. They'd have to get a really lot. Sabine's got enough stuff that she probably doesn't need to bother checking. Plus, my officer's only 2 anyway, so Sabine wouldn't be able to benefit off of him anyway. Neither would R2. So it's really what was about the FD laser cannon? He's the same, right? So it's really just the Rebel troopers that, and I'm not really as worried about them. I mean, I can just keep them close to the leader. I can keep him with them, and then I don't have to worry about it. But War Weary can really hurt certain other lists. It really can. So I feel like it's mostly okay for my list, and so I like that. I do like that one quite a bit, and I think that's going to do it. Plus, there's also an excuse to use a lot of the new stuff in here. But I'm curious what you guys think about this list. I'll put a link to it in the description below. Is it a little bit too off meta? Do you think certain things would just, I feel like a lot of stuff that's strong right now, this has answers for, but then again, you never know. It might be the new rave. You never know. All right, well, that's all I've got for you guys today. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you check out some of the merch down in the links below. Follow me on social media if you want to support the channel. There's shirts, masks, all kinds of good stuff like that. You can also support me on Patreon. Big thanks to my patrons, by the way. You guys are absolutely amazing. So thank you so much for your continued support. And as always, have a great day.